Some journeys don't just move you from one place to another. Some journeys move something inside of you. I've been to cities that made me feel alive. I've been to places that made me feel small. But there are very few routes in this world that do both in the same week. This is Seattle to Alaska, skyscrapers to snowcaps, a route that starts in one of America's most electric cities and ends at the edge of the last wilderness on Earth. And before this journey was over, I found myself asking a question I wasn't expecting to ask. Which world is the real one? Stay with me, because by the end of this, you might be asking the same thing. Seattle doesn't ease you in. From the moment you arrive, the city is awake. It's coffee and salt air and fairy horns in the distance. It's streets that climb and dip like they were built by someone who didn't believe in flat surfaces. It's the kind of place that has its own personality, and it isn't shy about showing it. I started where most people start, Pike Place Market. And I know what you're thinking. Tourist trap. You've seen the photos. Here's what nobody tells you about Pike Place. You don't go there to watch other people enjoy it. You go there to let yourself enjoy it. The fish fly through the air, and yes, it is exactly as perfectly timed and chaotic as it looks. The vendors call, the crowd moves, the smell of fresh flowers mixes with the salt of the sound. Sensory overload, but the good kind. The original Starbucks is around the corner. And no, I didn't go in for the coffee. I went in because standing in the place where something that changed the world began, that's a different kind of feeling. There's a quiet electricity to Pike Place. You feel it most in the mornings, before the crowds arrive, when the vendors are just setting up and the light is still soft. That's when Seattle is honest. From the market, I walk down to the waterfront, and for the first time, you feel it, the geography of this place, the water, the islands in the distance, the mountains beyond them. Seattle sits at the edge of something much bigger than itself. I took the ride up the Space Needle, 605 feet. The city opens up below you, the grid of streets, the patchwork of rooftops, the blue-green shimmer of the sound in every direction. You can see Mount Rainier on a clear day. And when you do, you realize the wilderness was always right there. Seattle was just hiding. But what struck me most from up there wasn't the skyline. It was that I could see where the city ended. And beyond that line, something else entirely was waiting. Embarkation Day has a feeling that's hard to describe to someone who hasn't experienced it. It's part anticipation, part surrender. You've planned, you've packed. And now, for the first time, everything is out of your hands. Standing at the dock and looking up at a cruise ship is one of those moments that resets your sense of scale. It's enormous, quietly powerful, and it's about to carry you somewhere that, right now, you can only imagine. But the real moment, the moment I want you to hold on to if you ever take this route, is when the ship leaves the dock. Because leaving a city by water feels different than leaving by air. You don't lose the city all at once. You watch it slowly. The buildings get smaller. The Space Needle holds its shape, the longest, rising above everything else, until finally it disappears into the horizon. And then there's only water. In that silence, the journey actually begins. A rhythm to days at sea that your body learns faster than your mind. The gentle roll of the ship. The sound of water against the hull. The way the horizon moves, but never really changes. I'll be honest with you. Before this trip, I thought the days at sea might feel like the quiet parts. The in-between time. The space you spend waiting for the destination. I was wrong. Something happens when you remove yourself from the grid. No traffic, no emails, no scroll, just the water, the sky, and the occasional distant silhouette of another ship passing on the horizon. You start to think differently. I sat on deck one evening as the light was fading, and I thought about something. Why do people travel? Not what makes a good trip, but why does a person feel the need to leave in the first place? And watching the last of Seattle disappear behind me, I thought, maybe it's not about leaving at all. Maybe it's about remembering what's out there. Somewhere between Seattle and Alaska, the stars became the kind of stars you forget exist when you live in a city. Thousands of them, sharp and still, and completely indifferent to anything happening below. And in that indifference, there was something that felt very close to peace. I was on deck before sunrise. I don't know exactly when I woke up, but something told me not to miss this moment. The first sight of Alaska is not subtle. Mountains don't appear gradually on the Alaskan coast. They rise. They assert themselves, snow-capped and enormous, and utterly unconcerned with how small everything else is. The temperature dropped. I pulled my jacket tighter, and I didn't move. Seattle hums. Alaska breathes. That's the only way I can describe the difference. Seattle is alive in the human sense. Active, loud, creative, driven. Alaska is alive in the original sense. Before roads. Before cities. Before everything. The glacier stopped me completely. I've seen photographs. I've watched documentaries. Nothing prepares you for the scale of it in person. It's not just that it's big, it's that it exists in complete silence. Hundreds of feet of ice, thousands of years old. And the world around it is utterly still. I stood at the railing and watched a piece of ice the size of a car break off and fall into the water below. The sound reached me a second after I saw it happen, a low crack. Then a distant splash, like thunder from a storm you can see but can't quite feel yet. And I thought, this glacier has been calving pieces of itself into the sea since long before Seattle was a thought in anyone's mind. I don't know how to explain the humility of that moment. I just stood there. The port towns of Alaska carry their own kind of magic. Skagway is a gold rush town that time forgot in the best possible way. Main Street looks like a film set, but it's real. The mountains behind it are so close, so steep, so green that it feels like you've sailed into a painting. The same streets that gold rush prospectors walked in 1898. Not the same as them. I had a good jacket and a phone in my pocket, but the same geography. The same mountains pressing in from every side. The same sense that you are very, very far from wherever you came from. Alaska gives you wildlife in a way that no nature documentary prepares you for. A humpback whale surfacing 200 feet from the ship. The bald eagle sitting perfectly still on a spruce branch, watching the water below. These things don't feel like nature highlights. They feel like interruptions. Like the wilderness tapping you on the shoulder and saying, remember me? Spent a lot of time in Alaska just looking, not photographing, not filming, just looking. Because some things are better held in the eye than stored on a screen. Here's what I came back with, not just photographs, not just memories. In Seattle, I was impressed by what human beings are capable of. A city built on hills above the sea, coffee shops on every corner, art on every empty wall, technology pouring out of every office building. In Alaska, I was reminded of what human beings are part of. Something much older, much bigger, much less interested in being impressive. I said at the beginning of this journey that I wasn't sure which world was the real one. I think I have an answer now. They both are. And the only way you can know that, the only way you can truly feel it, is to travel between them. To let Seattle remind you of what we've built, and then let Alaska remind you of what was here first. That's the thing nobody tells you about this route. It's not just a cruise. It's a conversation between two worlds. And you're the one sitting in the middle, listening to both. The Seattle to Alaska cruise is on your bucket list. Here is my honest advice. Don't overplan it. Book the ship. Choose a few ports where you know you want to spend real time. And then leave space for the things you didn't expect. Because Alaska will fill that space in ways you couldn't have planned for anyway. The Space Needle will deliver. The Glacier will deliver. But it's the moments in between, the mornings at sea, the first sight of the mountains appearing on the horizon, the quiet that settles over the ship somewhere between one world and the next, those are the ones that will stay with you. If you want more videos like this one, journeys that go deeper than the guidebook, stories that go beyond the port stop, hit subscribe. We are building something here, and I want you to be part of it. There is a whole world out there still waiting to be explored, and some of it, the best of it, will surprise you in ways you weren't expecting. Until next time, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and keep traveling.